Hello again, everybody. Todd Michael Putnam here from D&D Creative Table Designs, bringing you another adventure table idea. This one is inspired from way back in the day. Anybody who played D&D Basic when it first came out, it was shipped with a module called the Keep on the Borderlands, if anyone remembers that module. And I don't know, it wasn't that long ago, a year or two ago, maybe Goodman Games did a 5th edition conversion to Keep on the Borderlands called Into the Borderlands, which actually makes it compatible with D&D 5th edition. Note to those who are interested in playing it, there is no balancing as far as CR balancing is concerned. Back in D&D Basic and 1st edition, 2nd edition, I don't even think in 3rd edition, they had there was no CR or anything, no challenge rating. So plenty of the encounters was just designed that the players had to run away from. So if you do decide to play it, they converted it to 5th edition, but they did not balance it for 5th edition, just so you're aware. That being said, within the module itself, there's an area called the Lizardfolk Mound. If you go out into the wilderness and don't go to the actual Caves of Chaos, which was the centerpiece of that module, they had an area called the Mound of the Lizardmen, which was not fleshed out. They did not detail any of that encounter. They basically left it for new DMs so that you could make up your own encounter with lizardmen. So I decided, what the heck? I did one a little while ago from the Lost City, and I thought, let me see if I can. Let me see what I would do for a Lizardman Mound. So I divided the table up into two areas. The top area is the swamp. And then underneath it is the burrow itself, and I'll explain how that works. So, and essentially, as far as the pieces of it are concerned, there's two maps. I have basically a brownish type map for under the underground area underneath the burrow itself. And in this area here, I have a standard, I shouldn't say standard, I've got like a swamp type map. And then I have, overlaying both of those, I have a thin window film that I have in just laid on it, and it provides like basically little wrinkles and some texture, which actually gives it like a water type feel. So the idea is that this area here, it's a swamp, so you're up to knee deep or whatever in the water as you're walking through it, and that just tries to help portray that a little bit while still allowing the texture underneath of the swamp area to show through. So that's what I did as far as that. I've got some trees, 3D printed trees that are basically swamp type trees. Then I had some Heroscape trees and that's palm trees, but I just use them as any kind of jungle or swamp trees that I got off eBay cheap. Some small, simple XPS foam terrain to throw up on top, so you can give the land some more texture, some more topography and variation. And that's all the main features of it. Except for this cool little piece here. It's actually a snake head, but I thought, what the heck, close enough. We can use our imaginations, and we'll use that as an entrance to the Lizardman Mound as far as that. So this centerpiece, the way that it would work is you don't put the centerpiece on there. You let the characters go traveling through the swamp, and you'll come into various encounters. One of the encounters, of course, would be like with a giant snake. There could be crocodiles or alligators or whatever in the swamplands as they're walking through it. So all you got to do is just rearrange, just move the pieces around just a little bit, or even move the players different areas in the pieces. Doesn't really matter. And roll for random encounters until eventually they work their way through and they come close to the actual entrance to the Mound of the Lizardmen, which in this case I have indicated by they've got a door, an actual door underneath a giant lizard man type head that's opened maw that says that this is clearly the entrance. Of course, there's a guy out front here who's got a lizard folk out front who's got a horn to blow in case there's intruders or anything to alert everybody, and they'll have a number of lizard folk that are skulking about throughout the forest, throughout the swamp in various areas that can swim over very quickly to the area that's under siege and try and fend off any attacks from the players as the players locate the mound itself. So you can have one or two encounters up front, and then plus as they're traveling, and then a main encounter here where they're able to get into the fort itself. Now, of course, one of the things they'll have to do is, as soon as that guy blows his horn, if the next thing he's going to do is he's going to literally jump in through that door and go and try and alert the rest of the mound. Lizard folk are intelligent beings, so they're going to try and defend themselves. So they've got a system for alerting, and he just blows the horn 3 times. That lets everybody know, quick, come to the main area and help defend it. And then he's in the door unless the players somehow manage to stop him, paralyze him, kill him, put him to sleep, whatever. But if he jumps through that door and gets inside, well, then, of course, the entire Lizardman Mound is going to be alerted to the presence of the adventurers, and that's going to make things a lot tougher. So that's the surface area. And then underneath, the underneath area, I tried to do it as sort of like a 2-level experience, because I tried to think how lizard folk would build their mounds so it would work to their advantage. And so there's basically 2 levels in the second area. You're going to see certain areas that are up on blocks. Those areas are basically dry areas. It's where they swim up. Underneath, on the bottom, anything that's level with the mat itself is submerged. So the lizard folk, they'll come in through, this is the entrance door right here from the Lizardfolk Maw opening. And they'll come in through there, and as soon as they step down into that, they're underwater. It's all this is submerged. That serves a couple of purposes. For one, it puts any other creature that's not aquatic in nature, can't handle it, is going to be at a disadvantage. They're going to be swimming, and they're going to be holding their breath. And then on top of that, they're going to have light problems, because you certainly aren't going to have a lit torch or anything. So maybe they're going to have a light spell or whatever they're going to do. But those are things they're going to have to take into account as they start exploring through the Lizardfolk Mound. And when they come around this corner, as they swim under here, and in all of these caves that you see like this, those are representative of basically a 5-foot wide corridor that's totally submerged. And then they get to this area here, which is also submerged. And it's guarded by 2 alligators and yet another lizardfolk guy. If for some reason the guy at the outside didn't make it in, just quickly, as soon as they come around this corner, these alligators are going to sense food, and they are going to immediately attack. And their job is basically, they're not aware of their job, but their job is essentially just to keep any intruders in bay, anyone who is not lizard folk, at bay, while this guy here attempts to scurry off under the rest of the maze and alert the rest of the Lizardfolk Mound. Because he's going to defend his clan or his tribe. So, and of course, the players have a second opportunity once again that they're going to need to not only deal with the crocodiles, but they're also going to have to deal with a lizardfolk guy who's going to very quickly head down these tunnels, and he's going to try and alert the different aspects, the different areas of the Lizardfolk Mound. So, and if we take this off to the right and we follow it over here, we'll see that there are some stairs that lead up. I think I can switch it around this way. There's some stairs that lead up that tell you, okay, this goes into another area. When it leads up to this area, this is dry cave area. It comes out of the water, and it's still underneath the earth, but it's above the water level. So in this area here, there's just a single guard, and he is guarding a number of captives that they have. And so the lizard folk, they basically just hand them a small sack of air, or whatever it is, and pull them through the underground burrows as quickly as possible into this area. And they're basically trapped here. They don't have a lock and key. There's no steel door or anything like that, because number one, it was pitch black when they were going through, so they wouldn't be able to know their way out. Number two, they probably wouldn't be able to hold their breath long enough to get there. So, and number three, there's gators swimming around. So even though there's not a lock and key, they're effectively trapped in here, and they're basically waiting to be fed to the gators or to be used as sacrifices or whatever purposes the lizard folk might have. So there's only a single guard there, keeping them in their location. Of course, the prisoners are all unarmed. They have nothing. They're weak. They're half starving. So they're no match for even a single guard, let alone attempting to try to escape. And if we follow the winding passages back over to this one here, again, another set of stairs going up into yet a second area that is above the water level, but still under the earth. And this is the common folk area. And if either of the 2 lizard folk who were supposed to alert them have gotten here, then there'll be 3 guards that are waiting in line, and then the females will be back behind them, who will be ready to fight if they absolutely have to, but the male guards will be there first, and they will try and take on the characters. So, and of note, this room here is the only one that only has one exit out of it, because it's only for the prisoners. So they keep the prisoner here, there's one way in, there's one way out. But the way I designed the rest of it is that there's 2 ways out, so that there's a way in here and there's a way in there coming out. And what that allows the lizard folk to do is, if necessary, like the females could escape from this room while the guards are fighting them off, because that's just basic, preservation instinct. So the lizard folk have designed their areas so that their mound area, so that they have an escape for themselves in each of these rooms wherever possible, while somebody is fighting a rear guard action. Any of the vulnerable members of their tribe would be able to escape. So again, the players might come up with this particular section here. If they haven't been alerted, if they've been quick and they managed to kill the 2 guards that were sentries before they alerted, then they could be in any kind of a configuration. They wouldn't be expecting anything, and the players might achieve surprise coming up from out of the water right into them. So that's like the common folk area. Headed down into this one over here, there's another small area up. Again, there's an area in and an area out. There's a way in, a way out, 2 exits. And in this one here, there's just 1 adult, and then it's a number of small lizard folk, children basically, that are in this particular area. Leads to a moral dilemma. Do the players kill the children? They're lizard folk. They're just trying to survive. They're children. So do they slaughter them? Do they let them go? What do they do? There is 1 adult in the area that they could possibly have a dialogue with, and or he may just charge in and fight and tell the children to escape. One does not know how that might come out. So again, there's a way in and a way out. This center room here that's underwater. So again, this one is not submerged. This one here is also not submerged, but all the tunnels leading to and fro are. And then in this particular one here, there's a way in and a way out to an area that's mostly submerged. It's got just a couple of rocks outcropping on top there for a little bit, that is filled with a couple of gators. And there's a number of corpses and skeletons here for where prisoners have been fed to them. And there is a weregator, who's basically runs this area. And he's in charge of the crocodiles, or a werecroc, I should say. And he's in charge of the crocodiles. He's able to give them commands and tell them to do things. And he basically works, in conjunction with the lizard folk. He's got a way to get fed regularly. The crocodiles are under his control, and so he puts up a good fight in this area that's partially submerged. And as I said, it's underwater. You've got 1 area coming in, and you've actually got 2 areas coming out of it. This one here, you got 1 there and 1 there. So there's 3 ways in and out of that particular room. But the werecroc is going to fight quite ferociously to defend this area, and also obviously send out crocodiles on patrols looking for whether or not there's escaped slaves or anything like that. And then finally, with the 2 areas in and 1 area in, 1 area out, is this section here where the lizard folk king is, or the chieftain. And he's got himself, of course, some guards, but he's also got himself a shamanistic guy there. The lizard folk king is up on the top. And as soon as anybody makes it to this area, this would be basically their last stand. Everybody would keep retreating back from 1 area to the next till they got to here. So there may actually be more lizard folk here. There could be the women and children could actually be in this 1 area, depending on if they had warnings or whether or not they had time to flee when the characters came up, if they negotiated not to kill them, whatever the case may be. So this area may be more full than is depicted, but this would be basically the last stand for the lizard folk, with the lizard folk king himself and the shaman plus a number of guards to be able to fight them off. So that's the basic flow, if you will, of this the Lizardfolk Mound, as inspired by the Keep on the Borderlands and Goodman Games' 5th edition conversion into the Borderlands. I'd have to look and see. I think they actually fleshed out the the Lizardman Mound. But this was my interpretation of one way that you could do it. This is all Dwarven Forge, just to keep it super simple. This is all Dwarven Forge stuff, various, their caves, cavern accessories, things like that. I think it's almost all that. Caverns and cavern accessories of various types is what makes this whole area. And again, the main concept that tries to make this different from your standard caverns is that all of the passageways are submerged and dark, because there clearly aren't going to be any torches glowing or anything. So unless they have dark vision, even dark vision may not help, because some of the areas there's no sunlight whatsoever. There's no light to penetrate whatsoever. So it could be pitch black unless the lizard folk have sources of light. Probably would not be burning torches or anything in here because of the fact that there'd be a relatively limited oxygen supply. So, but as the case may be, however you want to run it as a DM, that's the concept, is that all the tunnels would be submerged, and that there's guardian crocodiles that are traversing through the hallways, and then the lizard folk themselves, of course, have their own community. So that's the basic idea behind it. Hope you like it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more. And we've got well over 60 other videos that are in the YouTube channel now, so feel free to check them out and let me know in the comments what you think. I will see you next adventure. Thanks for checking us out. Take care. Bye.